And then he says, oh, and I meant to respond to Ecclesiastes 7:20, which says that there is not a just man upon the earth who doeth good and sinneth not. And he says, I do not understand that as saying we will always continue in sin. It means exactly what Paul said. All have sinned and fallen short. Even the righteous, Noah, Abraham, David, etc. No one will live a perfect life. Well, wasn't he saying that he who is born of God does not sin, and he was applying that to the flesh, the life he lives in the flesh? That was how he opened the thread, by quoting 1 John 3:9, King James Version too, where it doesn't say the practicing like the other modern Bible version. It says cannot sin, does not sin.
But
And yet you're saying that we're not perfect. So what is he talking about?
Yeah, he's downplaying the requirement to get into heaven, which is be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Your righteousness must exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. So when he's saying this, he's downplaying the holy law, and saying that he doesn't need to keep all of it, which James outright denies. He said you either keep everything perfectly, if you feel at one point you fail all of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's lowering the stringency of the law. He's literally standing next to Jesus, and he's saying, you don't have to live perfectly. Jesus is saying, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. He's speaking to Jews under the law that if this is the way that people are going to seek to be justified and made righteous, it's going to have to be a life of absolute perfection. And he's saying, no, it's not. Now, we would say, no, it's not, but we would say it's because Christ fulfilled that perfection on our behalf by one offering. He has perfected forever those who are sanctified. But he's denying that. He's saying in relation to the law, which means what he's doing is bringing down the stringency of the law when Jesus brought it up. Jesus said, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. If the means and avenue of perfection is under the law, then you have to keep it, as Andre said, perfectly and completely. That's what James 2 is telling us. Whoever keeps the whole law yet stumbles at one point is guilty of all of it. That if you stumble at one point, you're guilty of the entirety of the law. And as human beings in the flesh, we sin every single day. Who's not arrogant enough to say, or who's arrogant enough to say that they don't sin at least one time a day, at least in a thought or some deed or something they said to somebody they loved?